Hi, we are outdoing ourselves for the second video today. We have had lots of requests about how we make our pine needle basket, which is here, Megan. Bring it in shot. This one's not quite finished, but we're going to show you how we started it and we're going to finish it off. So to make your pine needle basket, you will need a needle and some thread. We're using embroidery thread. This seems to work quite well. A small piece of straw cut off. Lots of pine needles. I've only got a few here just to show you, but you'll need quite a good amount. And some scissors. Let's get started. So pine needles have two ends. The bit that's attached to the branch, which is here, and then this end, and we are aiming to have them all going the same way. So you're going to put them the same way, and you are going to fill your straw so that it is completely stuffed full and you can't move it. So just put as many as you can in. See if I can fit one more. You may be able to put one more in. Give it a little wiggle. You can take this bit off a little bit just to make it a little bit smaller. Might fit in there. Okay, so that is stuffed full, which is how you start. Now you're going to pull this out a little bit and you need to prepare your thread. To attach our thread onto the end of our pine needles, I'm going to use the clove hitch that we've done before. So I'm just making two loops. One loop with the thread in front and a second loop with the thread going behind. So this one is in front. I'm going to tuck that one behind, put the two loops together, and then I'm going to put the ends of my pine needles on. And then I'm going to pull two ends so the loops tighten. Just a really nice way to secure on to begin with. So I'm going to push that all the way down. Then what I'll need to do is, with my thread, I am going to wind around my pine needles. So I'm aiming to cover a centimetre or two, like so. Like that. And then I'm looking to fold them back in. So I'm sliding the tube up a little bit and folding the pine needles over. This bit is a bit tricky, so it does take a little bit of care, and this will form the centre of your basket. So my thread's at this end and I am aiming to go through in here, just underneath here, where I've previously got the thread wrapped around. You can see it's coming out of the thread side, and then I'm going to pull it, and I'm aiming to go round this side. So I'm just going to do that again. So I'm going round the outside and in through this side. And you can see it started to go around there. And I'm going to do that again. So around the outside, and it must go, to hold it together, it has to go through the thread that we've already done in the middle there. Pull it up. And you can see it's starting to cover this side as well. So I'm just going to keep going with that, going round and through the middle, making sure that those loops of thread are covering as we go. Okay, I'm going to keep going with that until I've got it all the way covered up to this end. The next thing you're going to do is fold round, so it was going that way, and you're going to bend round the pine needles, and you're going to carry on wrapping around the outside there with your thread. got to the end bit now again, so every time I'm sliding up the tube and I'm back to bending it round. But as you can see, my pine needles are starting to run out. So at this point, I need to see if I can pack any more pine needles in. So take another pine needle, and I'm just seeing if there's a little space to shove it in. It's quite a fiddly job. So just packing those pine needles in so that as I'm sliding the tube up, it's continuing to be filled. So I'm ready to continue. So I'm folding it round and hold it nice and tight. And I'm going round the outside and back through a bit of already sewn. Back through the previous sort of loop that I've already sewn. So I'm going round, back through, you can see, through the bit that I've just previously sewn, and that will keep holding it together. Round, it's a bit fiddly, back through the area I've already sewn. Now you can see these are starting to be a bit more spaced out, and you'll find you can be a bit more spaced out as the basket gets bigger. So once again, you can see running out of pine needles. So whenever you can see that happening, this is the time to see if you can fit another one in. You may find that these sort of lumpy ends mean that they don't fit in as well, so you can always take those off, and you're aiming to keep it nice and packed as you go, and you're just going to keep going like that for a while. Okay, so you can see I've done a couple of rounds of going round on this now, and I'm actually getting to the end of my thread. So you can do two things. You can do a reef knot, which is right over left and under, a bit fiddly, and left over right and under. And then pull them. You can trim off those ends, they might get in the way as you're pulling the thread through. And you can see I've actually changed. I'm going to go from a light green to a darker green just to give a bit of variation to my basket, but it's up to you if you want to continue with the same colour. So I'm going to keep going now, remembering that when I'm running out of needles that I'm just going to add in more to keep going, just like so. So as you can see, I have carried on with the basket. When you get to the point where you're happy with the size of the base, you need to start putting the pine needles more on top and stitching around. And now I'm coming to the end of it, so I've been inserting my pine needles, going round and through into the side, and wrapping them round. Now I'm getting to the end, and so I'm not going to add any more pine needles now. I'm just going to be going round the top, so round into the previous layer and pulling through. And I might need to do my stitches a bit closer together at this point to allow me to lock in all those last needles, just like so. So I'm just finishing off now. I'm not adding any more pine needles to my basket. I'm just moving it along, making sure that my stitches are fairly close together. Ooh. So that I'm locking in those last pine needles. And anything that sticks out I can always trim a bit later. So just releasing it through the side. just like so, and I'm going to keep going until I've got those last pine needles nearly there. I've also seen some people do a blanket stitch on the top, which does change the pattern at the top, which might look quite nice. But I'm just going to do, just like we have been all the way around, just doing the last little bit of stitching. There you go. You can see my straw has now come off. I'm just going to neaten up that last bit. And then to finish off and to make sure it's nice and secure, I'm just going to do a few stitches in the same place. And knotting it off. Just like that. Then I'm going to give one last knot. And through there, get nice and tight, and then I'm going to use my scissors to cut it, and that's it, done. Now your bowls can come out all different shapes and sizes, and that's what makes them really unique, which I think is really special. So you can see they do turn out quite different. This was my first attempt with quite a round curved bottom, but this one is much more flat and with sides so it's not as wobbly. So try out some different styles. You can make something nice and small, different sizes, they can have different functions. It could be a nice little hat for a teddy bear. Up to you. There you are. They also make particularly good hats. So there you have it. Pine needle baskets or pine needle hats. See if there's anything else that you can think of to use the same technique and make baskets with. We hope you will have a go yourself.
Make sure you like and subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any new uploads.
Happy half term. We hope you've enjoyed it and we'll see you soon. Bye.
Bye.